So a couple of weeks we made a video on raised garden beds where we used the Varing Kwekery tanks, some of our enriched garden soil, some kraal manure, bone meal, kelp meal and blood meal. My name is Jan W Lubbinge. I'm from Bark Limited Organics, and I promised you 2 more secret ingredients that I put into my raised garden beds to get good results on my veggies. And today we're going to show you those products.
Refresh your garden with the Bark Unlimited range of top quality organic products. Bark Unlimited Organics. Refresh nature.
So the first of our 2 products I'm going to show you is Vermiculite. And I would like to show you what Vermiculite looks like. And I'm just going to open the bags and take out some of it. And this is our Vermiculite large, or the coarse one, and this is quite big. And then we've got a smaller Vermiculite called Vermiculite Medium. We've even got a smaller one than this, but this is what the medium looks like, and this is the one that we will be using in our raised garden beds. Now, Vermiculite is a mined product. It comes in thin flat flakes and it gets put through a heating process and it pops like popcorn. You can see those little flakes on it, and you can see that this has been expanded, and if I squeeze it, it goes flat. So preferably you don't squeeze it because you would like it to stay like this, and this can absorb a tremendous amount of water. So this will also aid in water retention in your raised beds, and it will also help with the aeration of the soil. One of the other factors that nobody knows about Vermiculite is that it also helps with the absorption of the fertilizers for the plants. Okay, and then the other product I want to show you is our Earthworm Castings. And I've harvested some earthworm castings from one of our earthworm farms, and this is what the earthworm castings looks like. And you can see how dark and rich this is, and this we're also going to add to our raised garden bed. This will provide not only nutrients, but it's full of microbes which we need for breaking down the organic fertilizers that we've put into the raised garden beds. And mentioning the organic fertilizers, those would be the blood meal, bone meal and kelp meal that we've added a couple of weeks ago. So let's go to our veggie patch and to the Varing Kwekery tanks, and we're going to add our Vermiculite and our earthworm castings, mix it into the soil, and we'll plant some veggies after that. Okay, so we're here in the back of our garden, and this is our veggie patch, and like you've seen in the previous video, these are the Varing Kwekery tanks, and I just want to mention thank you to Varing Kwekery again for sponsoring these tanks for us. And we did fill them up with some ordinary garden soil, the bottom layer, and then added our good soil on top and all the fertilizers. And we just need to add the Vermiculite now, and we're going to start on this small one, and we don't need to put in too much because this is something that we don't need in big quantities. And I'll just do all of them with the Vermiculite first, and we'll just sprinkle a thin layer on top. And like I said, this will help with water retention. It will also help with aeration of the soil, and then also it will help with the absorption of the nutrients in the soil. I'm just going to empty this out and spread it all over the bed. And then we're going to do exactly the same with our earthworm castings, and we don't need too much of it. Like I said, this only puts microbes in the soil, and it's also got a little bit of nutrient value, but we're doing it more for the microbes, and the microbes will break down the organic fertilizer in the soil and make it available to the plants. What's interesting about the microbes is that on a hot day they're more active, and that's when your plant needs the nutrients, and on cooler days they less active, and your plant anyway doesn't need all that nutrients on a cooler day. We're also approaching winter now, so we're not going to overfeed our vegetables. Okay, so now we're going to dig in our earthworm castings, and we've given these containers a bit of a rest, and the reason for that was because it's a raised bed, the soil needed to compact, or not really compact, but to sag, and that process takes a bit of time, and if you fill it up straight away and plant into it and the soil goes down, then you're going to sit with a raised bed where you've got a very high rim around the bed, and it's not going to be a nice planting in it. And you can see how the structure of the soil again has changed. Remember, if you look in the previous video, you will notice that the enriched garden soil was red in color, and with the kraal manure and all the nutrients we've mixed into it, this has gone nice and dark, and you can see how rich the soil is. Look at the vermiculite, it's also helping to keep it loose, and it will also help to retain some more moisture. So we're just going to go ahead and mix the earthworm castings and vermiculite into this raised bed, and you can see how nice it is having a raised bed. You don't have to bend over, and like I said in my previous video, if you're getting on in years, if you're maturing like good red wine, you don't really feel like bending over all day, and this is the ideal way of gardening for our more senior people. In time to come, we'll, in between harvests, we'll add more organic matter to our raised bed, as the organic matter that's in here decomposes. The soil is going to go down, and we're going to need to fill it up again. So once we've mixed through the vermiculite and the earthworm castings, we're just going to level out the bed. This is now ready for planting. So I'm going to be off to the nursery. I'll go fetch some vegetable seedlings that we've already planted a couple of weeks ago, and we're going to plant them in our raised beds. So we have three different crops that we're going to plant today, seeing that we've got three different planters. And the first one is cauliflower. We will plant a couple of cauliflower plants, and then we've got spinach, or better known as Swiss chard, and we also have some beetroot. We're going to put the beetroot into the smaller container, as we can plant them a lot closer together. So what we'll do is we'll just pop out the seedling, and these are still very young, so they don't have a lot of roots, and we will just start and plant them just like that, and we'll grab some more. These are still a little bit too young to come out with all the soil on them, and you can see the spacing in between these are about maybe 7 centimeters or so, 7-8 centimeters. As beetroot doesn't need a lot of space in between the plants, as they don't grow all that big, and that's the reason also why we're planting them in the smaller raised bed. And you'll also notice that some of these plugs have got 2 little plants in it. That's perfect. We're not going to divide them, we're going to plant them like that. There's ample space for 2 beets to develop. And if you don't want to grow your own seedlings, you can buy seedlings from a nursery, but they are so easy to grow, and it's a lot cheaper if you buy the seeds and grow them yourself than to buy the seedlings, especially when it comes to things like beetroot. You can easily overpay for beetroot seedlings, and it defeats the whole object of saving some money by growing your own food. And I must just say that saving money is not always the reason we grow our own food. For myself, the main reason would be that I know what I spray on the plants and what I don't spray on them, and I know what fertilizers I use on them, so I can with all honesty say that the food that I produce in my own garden has been grown organically. And this is how easy it is to plant your beetroot. And we will now move on to the next planter, and we'll do the spinach or Swiss chard. Alright, so this is our spinach or Swiss chard, and remember I said these plants grow slightly bigger, so we're going to plant them a little bit further apart, and we will actually do, let's say, 3 rows of it, and we'll just pop them out of the trays, and we're going to leave a bigger spacing, about 15 centimeters I would say. And the interesting thing about Swiss chard is it's got a very long life. You can grow these plants and they can easily get to about 9 months old, and so most of the year you will have Swiss chard to harvest. And there you go. This is how fast and easy it is to plant a rain queen, rain tank, raised garden bed with your Swiss chard, and these will be ready for harvesting in probably about 3 to 4 weeks from now. You'll be able to start picking the first leaves. They're going to be tiny, but the more you pick, the faster the plant will grow. And like I said, this will produce spinach for up to 9 months, and this is probably one of the more rewarding vegetables to plant. And now we'll move on and plant our cauliflower, which is also a winter crop. So the beetroot, the spinach and cauliflower is something that you can grow during the winter months, and we're approaching autumn now, so it's a good time to plant your winter crops now. So now we're going to plant our cauliflower in the last one, and this actually grows to quite a big plant, so we're not going to put too many of them in here, and we're going to give them ample space. And I'll start on that side, and I'm going to do it close to the side, because if it hangs over the side it's not a problem. We've got lots and lots of space on the sides, but in the middle it might become too dense, and then you don't have enough ventilation, and you might get a problem with fungus if there's not enough ventilation. Okay, and you will notice that the spacing on the cauliflower is slightly more than what it is on the Swiss chard. The beetroot is planted a lot closer together. This will already be very crowded actually, but we're going to take a chance and see the middle ones. Hopefully they won't get too leggy. And this is actually a lot of cauliflower. You know, if you think of it, there's about 16 plants in here, and if you have 16 nice big heads of cauliflower, that's a lot of food for a family of 4. Alright, so one more thing that remains to be done now is to water in our seedlings properly, and I'm very carefully going to go in between the seedlings. I'm not going to spray the water on their leaves at this stage because we've just planted them and they're going to fall over if the leaves gets heavy with the water. And this is to get all the roots to settle, or the soil to settle around the roots, and you water them straight after you've planted them. They've got a very good chance of surviving and actually growing into lovely beets. Yeah, so this is how easy it is to plant the raised beds. We've got 3 different crops here. We've got the beetroot, we've got the Swiss chard or spinach, and we've got our cauliflower. So if you liked this video and you found the information useful, please hit the like button. Remember to subscribe to our channel so that you can get all the latest videos on our gardening tips and our products. And if you want more information on the products, you can always go to our website at www.barkunlimited.co.za.
Refresh your garden with the Bark Unlimited range of top quality organic products. Bark Unlimited Organics. Refresh nature.